Welcome to Israel Now News. I'm Yochanan El-Rom.
And I'm Erin Viner.
In our top story, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu recalled his nation's envoy from the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization after the Paris-based group passed a second resolution erasing Jewish and Christian historical ties to Jerusalem. The text of both documents refused to acknowledge the Temple Mount as the holiest site in Judaism, and once again exclusively referred to it by its Arabic name and an Islamic area of worship. The Israeli leader slammed the UNESCO actions as a theater of the absurd, but he pointed out that a drop in support for the latest draft indicates a diplomatic victory for Israel. Only 10 of 21 member states voted in favor of the measure. It passed nevertheless because 8 countries abstained, 2 voted against, and 1 was absent. Prime Minister Netanyahu also stressed that while extremist Muslim forces are destroying mosques and churches, Israel is the only country in the region that protects them and allows freedom of worship. Erin has more on that story.
Yes, that's right, Yochanan. Knesset Speaker Yuli Edelstein is now appealing to Pope Francis for his assistance in preventing any further such acts that Edelstein characterizes as deeply offensive assaults on Jewish and Christian historical records of both the Old and the New Testaments. Amid world outcry against the resolutions, the pontiff just affirmed the connection between the Jewish people and the land of Israel during his October 26th address in St. Peter's Square. While citing scripture, Pope Francis said, "God has promised the Holy Land to the people of Israel." He also added the biblical passage reading, "The people of Israel, who from Egypt, where they were enslaved, walked through the desert for 40 years until they reached the land promised by God." Visiting Israeli Knesset member and Deputy Minister Ayub Kara spoke with the Pope after those remarks and thanked him for his support of the Jewish state. The Druze lawmaker later told reporters that it's impossible to ignore the clear affinity and connection between Christianity and Judaism. Petitions signed by more than 77,000 Jews and Christians demanding that UNESCO reverse its actions have been presented to UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon.
In other news, Hamas is praising the Palestinian Authority policeman who opened fire with an AK-47 assault rifle, wounding 3 Israeli soldiers. The terrorist organization also issued a call for more PA security personnel to join the Arab Intifada against Jews. In response to the immediate threat, Israeli forces shot and killed the gunman. One of the soldiers suffered moderate gunshot wounds to his lower body. The other 2 were lightly hurt by shrapnel. This was the second attack by a Palestinian policeman this year and the 4th terrorist incident in Judea and Samaria within 3 days. Since October of 2015, 35 Israelis and 2 visiting Americans were murdered by Palestinians in similar attacks.
A 4th school in the Palestinian territories has just been named the Martyr Salah Khalaf School for the head of the Black September terror organization. Khalaf masterminded the brutal murders of 11 Israeli athletes at the 1972 Munich Olympics, as well as the March 1973 killing of 2 American diplomats in Sudan. PA officials dedicated the facility to the memory of the man that they called a great national fighter. This latest outrage is consistent with Ramallah's policy of glorifying terrorism. Many streets, public squares, institutions, and sporting facilities throughout the PA and Gaza are named for terrorists. The initiative is particularly insidious within the Palestinian educational curriculum, where school children are indoctrinated with the belief that the murderers of Israelis and Americans are heroes.
Israeli special forces are now conducting drills aimed at preventing possible infiltration attempts by Islamic radicals in the Sinai. The commandos are particularly honing their skills at handling potential hostage-taking scenarios. The preparations come amid heightening violence in the peninsula between ISIS-linked terrorists and the Egyptian military. One officer told Israel's Channel 10 television that there are rising concerns that cells of 15 to 30 terrorists, armed with anti-tank and a variety of other weapons, will try to enter the Jewish state to launch attacks. Israeli commandos said they are prepared to deal with any terrorist attempts to breach the southern Sinai border.
In other regional news, the full extent of the damage wrought on the mainly Christian town of Karakosh in Iraq has been exposed after military troops expelled Islamic State fighters last week. The terrorists ransacked and burned many Christian businesses and churches, including the Tahrir al-Kubra, which was one of the biggest and oldest churches in the entire Middle East. Other Christian houses of worship faced similar fates, with crosses torn down and the altars smashed and destroyed. Many Christians fled the town after ISIS seized control in 2014, when the Islamists issued an ultimatum that they pay a tax, convert to Islam, or die by the sword.
Israel is once again offering a helping hand to Italy as it copes with recovery efforts following the fourth major earthquake to hit the country in less than 3 months. Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu told his Italian counterpart, Matteo Renzi, that the Jewish state will provide whatever his nation needs. The 6.6 magnitude tremor rocked central Italy on October 30th, just 4 days after 2 others struck the region. A 20-member team belonging to the Isra Aid group from the Jewish state was the first foreign humanitarian agency on the ground to help out this past August, when 300 Italians were killed in yet another devastating earthquake.
An American nonprofit organization in New Jersey is bringing female combat veterans to Israel for help after they return from the battlefront suffering post-traumatic stress disorder. The Heroes to Heroes program is the brainchild of Judy Schaefer, who experienced the spiritual power of the Holy Land during her own visit to Jerusalem as a teenager. Schaefer says she believes that time spent in Israel can help to heal the U.S. forces. Groups of 10 female war vets are coming to Tel Aviv's Beit HaLochem House of Warriors Rehabilitation Center, which cares for Israel's own wounded soldiers. The American participants say that they're able to share many of their experiences with the Israelis, who understand what most civilians just can't comprehend. The program also features spiritual healing and the opportunity to be baptized in the Jordan River. Many plant trees in memory of their fallen comrades. One young American servicewoman told NBC News that she's very impressed by the bond among her Israeli counterparts and wishes that women in the U.S. battalions could share that same kind of amazing connection.
The Christian world is celebrating the first glimpse inside the tomb of Jesus in at least 500 years. That look came during renovations of the ancient shrine at the Church of the Holy Sepulchre in Jerusalem. An enormous marble cover was shifted, revealing another marble block below bearing the inscription of a cross dating back to 12th century Crusaders. Historians believe the last time the tomb was possibly opened might have been in the year 1555 of the Common Era, although they say it could have been centuries earlier. There are Muslim sources which confirm the Dome of the Rock Mosque was built on the remains of the Jewish temples in Jerusalem. One is a 1,000-year-old inscription that was revealed at the 9th Annual Conference on Archaeological Discoveries in Jerusalem and its Environs at Hebrew University this past week. The phrase clearly states in Arabic that the original name of the hilltop was Beit al-Maqdis, meaning the Jewish temple. The 10th century inscription is located above a prayer niche at an active mosque in the Arab village of Nuba, about 7 miles northwest of Hebron. Archaeologists said the discovery demonstrates not only how Jerusalem became holy to the Muslims, but also the inspiration that Islam drew from Jewish sources regarding the holiness of the compound. The mosque was built in the year 691 by an architect who is believed to have been either Jewish or assisted by Jews. The crowd at the Jerusalem conference was especially enthusiastic over this latest revelation in light of the 2 UNESCO resolutions disavowing any connection between Jewish history and the Temple Mount.
Israel, the light unto the nations, today faces attack from more than just rockets and terrorism. Calls to boycott, sanction, and divest from Israel, known as BDS, are a form of economic warfare that you can help to prevent. The Israel Allies Foundation has launched a public service campaign called Defeat BDS, offering educational tools and other resources that you can use to stand with Israel and help make a difference. Just visit the easy-to-use website at www.defeatbds.org.
That concludes the news portion of our show. Stay tuned for Ask the Source with Josh Reinstein.
Hello and welcome to Ask the Source. I'm your host Josh Reinstein, and we're here on a beautiful sunny day in Jerusalem. My guest today is Pierre Levy. He is the Director General of the Halabi Land Redemption Company. Pierre, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you.
Tell our viewers a little about what is the Halabi Land Redemption Company.
Well, Josh, Halabi Land Redemption Company is a company that deals with real estates in Israel. We are purchasing lands in order to invest them, and we are looking for potential investors to come and invest with us in these lands.
One of the interesting things about the company is that you do projects geared towards a Christian audience, churches, community centers, old folks' homes. Why have you chosen the Christian community to work with on these projects?
Well, Josh, we are looking to have Christians investors in order to help them to strengthen our bridge together as Jewish people and Christian people in Israel.
You know, it's interesting, in the Middle East, Israel is the only democracy, it's the only place with freedom of religion. How accessible is it for Christians to invest in projects here, to buy land, to build churches?
We are looking for Christians who loves Israel. We are looking for Christians who also want to come and invest in order to help us, the Israeli people, to secure our land in Israel. And if you would like to secure our land, we have to build more and more.
Are there examples of these type of projects that you've done already, or is this just a new initiative?
This is a new initiative, actually. This is why we approach through this channel to the Christian investors. And we hope that from this interview we'll get a lot of feedbacks, people that will come and invest with us.
We see a lot in Israel of people who are building projects to help the Jewish community. They build centers for people who are survivors, or they build old folks' homes for the aged and the people who are impoverished. Are these type of projects that you would be able to put together?
Actually, we can. I mean, we can offer this kind of project as well, but we are also focusing on residential areas, residential towers and residential neighborhoods in Israel, not only in Jerusalem, but elsewhere.
Halabi is a known brand here in Israel. You've done many different projects in the past. Why all of a sudden are you switching and starting to market towards Christians?
Because we know that Christians are looking to invest in Israel. So now you have an address to approach to us.
You know, Christians who invest in Israel and Christians who love Israel always try to do something for the people. Is there a social responsibility aspect to these projects? What will the people of Israel get back from this rather than just a business deal?
If you're looking today in the real estate in Israel, and you know for sure that a lot of young couples are looking for apartment, for example, so we can offer them maybe cheap apartments. So this is something which is a social point in our activity.
These projects that you're doing, are they mostly in Jerusalem, or do you also do projects in Judea and Samaria?
Well, this is a very tough question, and I'm not sure that I can answer that, but we have this kind of project as well.
What makes that such a tough question?
Because we do not want to deal with politics, because this kind of project in Judea and Samaria a little bit more complicated, but we can offer projects in Ramat Gan, in Bnei Brak, in Jerusalem, in Givat Zev, Har Homa, Neve Daniel, Efrat, and other places.
There are places that are very holy to Christians, such as Nazareth and Tiberias. Are these places that you work as well?
We have now a project near the baptism site, near the Jordan River, that we are looking for investors to invest with us.
You know, Pierre, there are literally tens of millions of people watching this show. What message do you have for our viewing audience?
My message is that you can always contact us, because we are your friends, and we promise you good projects, good profit, and first of all, good partnership and friendship.
Thank you, Pierre, for being on the show, and thank you for tuning in to Ask the Source. I'm your host, Josh Reinstein. Now back to the studio.
Up next, the return to Zion with Karen Hayesod.
Hello and welcome to the Return to Zion with Keren HaYesod. I'm Eliezer Moody Sandberg, World Chairman of Keren HaYesod, the leading official fundraising organization for the State of Israel. Today, Ukrainian Jews are in great danger as they live in war-torn Ukraine. Help us fulfill biblical prophecy by bringing our brothers and sisters back home to safety. God bless you from Jerusalem.
I will even gather you from the peoples and assemble you out of the countries where ye have been scattered, and I will give you the land of Israel. Ezekiel 11:17.
In eastern Ukraine, over the past 2.5 years, a brutal and cruel war has been raging. A savage war without clearly defined front lines. Against this backdrop, the Jews of eastern Ukraine have been in peril. The donors of Keren HaYesod from around the world have heeded the call and have come to their rescue. Our supporters realize that the window of opportunity to rescue these Jews may slam shut.
Lift up your eyes and look around. All your children gather and come to you. Isaiah 49:18.
We are here to support, all of us, the Jewish people who return to their homeland, to support each other.
These Jews must be extracted from burning towns, from raging battles, and from the chaos of eastern Ukraine, and brought back to their ancient homeland.
Я решила приехать в Израиль, потому что я последние полгода почувствовала свои еврейские корни и поняла, что я не могу больше находиться в своей стране, и я должна вернуться на свою историческую родину.
Корни говорят сами о себе, было рвение, плюс хотелось, чтобы сын узнал.
Воссоединение с семьей, наша семья здесь сейчас, папа, мама, сестра.
Большое волнение, но как-то у меня сразу, как мы прилетели, какое-то ощущение было правильности нашего выбора.
Для будущего нашего ребенка в первую очередь.
Keren HaYesod's friends around the world have been stepping forward to enable this life-saving effort to continue. Many thousands have already been rescued, yet many thousands still remain in eastern Ukraine. They must be brought out now. Through Keren HaYesod and our partner, the Jewish Agency, our dreams, our prayers, and our hopes are coming together in fulfillment of the biblical prophecy that foresaw the return of the Jewish people to their ancestral homeland.
Behold, I will bring them from the north country and gather them from the uttermost parts of the earth. A great company shall they return hither. Jeremiah 31:7.
The situation is highly unpredictable, and we must not miss this chance to help. We cannot let them down. All possible resources must be mobilized in this effort. You too can play your part in this crucial mission as Keren HaYesod provides these Jews in distress with new lives in Israel. Join us. We must not forsake them in their time of need.
Let's bless Israel together.
To donate and get information, call us at 1-800-505-1665 or visit our website at www.khisrael.org.
The decision by UNESCO to deny the historic and religious rights of the Jewish people to our eternal capital in Jerusalem is not just a decision by an obscure UN body. It represents a concerted effort to deny Israel its rights to exist as the nation state of the Jewish people and to deny the Jewish people's right to exist as a people. Denying our connection to Jerusalem, as UNESCO has done, is to refute the 883 times in the Bible that Jerusalem is mentioned as Israel's capital. It is to fabricate a connection with Islam which does not mention Jerusalem even once in the Quran. The status of Jerusalem as the third holiest city in Islam is a tradition. It's not rooted in the Quran as it is rooted in our Bible. And the decision of UNESCO flies in the face of realities on the ground. Today, Jerusalem is a thriving, vibrant capital of a strong and independent Jewish state. And no decision by UNESCO can defy that. And more importantly, for you, certainly, the decision of UNESCO to deny the Jewish people's connection to Jerusalem also denies the connection between Christianity in Jerusalem. For one cannot read the books of Matthew, Luke, and John and read about how Jesus taught in the temple if there is a UN body that denies that the temple ever existed. To deny the Jewish people's connection to Jerusalem is not only to deny the existence of the Jewish people, it is to deny the very essence of the Christian faith.
Lift up your eyes and look around. All your children gather and come to you. The biblical prophecy is unfolding right before our very eyes. The people of Israel are returning to the Promised Land after 2,000 years of exile. But millions of Jews are still longing to come home. Anti-Semitism threatens many of the Jews. We must rescue them before the window of opportunity slams shut. Bless Israel by supporting Keren HaYesod United Israel Appeal, the leading official fundraising organization for the State of Israel. Together, we can fulfill the prophecy of the Bible.
Let us bless Israel together.
To donate and get information, call us at 1-800-505-1665 or visit our website at www.khisrael.org.
Please stay tuned for the ICEJ report from the International Christian Embassy, Jerusalem.
כל יום היה פחד על החיים. כל יום חשבו, הנה זה יום אחרון שחיים. לולי הייתה מדינה, אולי אנחנו לא היינו עוברים את השואה היהודית. שמי חווה הרשקוביץ', אני נולדתי בשנת 1933 ברומניה. בשנים הראשונות חיינו חיים רגילים. אסור היה לי ללכת לבית הספר, יהודים לא התקבלו לבית הספר. הציקו לאנשים, לא היה חיים קלים כבר גם אז, אבל כך היה עד שנת 41. בוקר אחד אמרו, עוד כמה שעות להיות בתחנת הרכבת, נוסעים לעבודה ל3 ימים. לא היה מים, לא היה אוכל, לא היה שירותים, צעקות, דוחק, בקושי היה אוויר. בגבול הורידו אותנו והצעידו אותנו 40 קילומטר ברגל לתוך אוקראינה. כל האזור היה מחנה אחד גדול. אנשים סבלו מאוד, אסור היה לצאת, מחלות מאוד קשות היו. אותה שנה היה קור נוראי שם. וככה מתו המון אנשים. בשנת 43 שוחררו ילדים מטרנסניסטריה שהיו יתומים. ואני הייתי בין אלה ששוחררתי, ובאותה שנה עלינו ארצה. הזמנים אז היו מאוד קשים בארץ. והתחילו להילחם לקראת הקמת המדינה. השתחררתי מהצבא ומאז עבדתי. עבדתי בחברת חריש, קראו לה, שהיא הייתה חברה לעבודות עפר, ובנו את המוביל הארצי, את המים לנגב. אני הרגשתי מאוד גאווה שאני עובדת בזה. לפני 8 שנים נפטר בעלי. ואני החלטתי שבבית אני לא נשארת לבד. ובאתי לגור לבית חם לניצולי שואה. אני מרגישה שדואגים לי, אני מרגישה שחשוב שיהיה לנו טוב פה. יוצאים לטיולים, כמו שביקרנו אצל נשיא המדינה, אצל ראש הממשלה. אלה הזדמנויות שלא היה לי בתור בן אדם פרטי. וחשוב שיהיה לאנשים מה לעשות. למשל, כל יום רביעי בערב אנחנו רוקדים. אתם מוזמנים לראות אנשים מבוגרים, זקנים, כולם רוקדים. זה נותן משהו מאוד מאוד לנפש שלנו. לא להיות לבד, להיות לבד היינו הרבה. היד עזר לחבר מאוד מאוד תומכת. השגרירות הנוצרית, אנחנו מאוד אוהבים אתכם, ואנחנו מרגישים שאתם עושים לנו איכות חיים מאוד מאוד טובה. בעיקר שיבואו כמה שיותר, שיכירו אותנו ושיספרו בעולם מי אנחנו, ואנחנו גם מספרים בעולם מי אתם שעוזרים לנו.
That's all for this edition of Israel Now News. I'm Yochanan El-Rom.
And I'm Erin Viner reporting from our studio in Jerusalem. Please join us again next week for all of your Israel updates.